For the moments that matter, choose Curad Naturals. Infused with aloe vera and vitamin E, Curad Naturals bandages protect your unexpected scrapes, cuts, and burns while also moisturizing your skin. Find deeper relief with natural ingredients you can trust to start the healing. When life's surprises call for the best, choose Curad, a deeper level of care. Shop the full collection on Amazon or visit Curad.com to learn more.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So worried about the negotiations in Switzerland. What's going to happen next? Oh, minute by minute. What did he say? Who left the room? What? Everybody, just relax. This is going to be figured out. I delegate it, and I ignore the fake news. I mean, I keep, half an eye on what they're saying. And actually, in my circles, a couple of things about my circles, most people are not talking about any of this stuff, all right? They're, they talk about the weather. They talk about the Knicks. They talk about who's going out with who. No one's really all that worried about it, which tells you that it's, quite frankly, it's in a good place. The American people, human beings, know when there's a problem, and they know when things get serious, and then they are appropriately concerned or not concerned, and they're appropriately not concerned. This thing is going to take care of itself. A lot of hand-wringing about what did President Trump say on Fox News, and oh my gosh, what is he? Just, look, I have confidence in the man. He's done this a million times before at a huge level. For most people, buying and selling one house is one of the most important and stressful things they ever do. Buying and selling, or perhaps maybe throwing a wedding, right? When you get married, that's a very complex thing. But this is, it's manageable, and I know he's managing it. I saw J.D. Vance on the ground there. I thought he looked terrific, and actually he was fascinating. Not that I care all that much, because I'm just going to have to let them do their thing. And there will be times where someone's going to walk out in a huff, and then the other side's going to walk out in a huff, and the deal's off. No, and it all is part of the process, especially a 60-day process. And there's all kinds of things that have to be factored in. Face saving. How does this play back home? President Trump has to worry about that. J.D. Vance has to worry about that. The Iranians have to worry about that. One of the guys involved on the Iranian side is, I know, almost personally, I'm not going to say personally, but almost personally, pretty much personally, Aragashi, is that he's a normal person. He's just not a normal person. Not everybody in Iran is a raving lunatic. And this guy is like front and center. Now, he knows that there are raving lunatics back in his own country, and he's got to kind of like keep an eye on them. President Trump, probably angered by all the fake news reporting that this is somehow a giveaway to Iran and the $300 million. No, President Trump has always, in the middle of negotiations or frank talk, blunt talk with an adversary, whether it's in business or politics or international diplomacy, in the middle, and sometimes not in the middle, throughout, he'll sprinkle in, this is what it would look like if you and I were friends. This is the remarkable, beautiful thing that will happen if we can get this thing fixed. And he has said this with all kinds of people. I mean, people who possibly don't deserve to even entertain that kind of a future. He shows how magnificent things can be if you settle down and we kind of talk this through and make an agreement. Remember North Korea? He used to, I remember he put sketches online. He even showed them to Kim Jong-un himself. Here's your beach is so amazing. It's so underdeveloped. Here's where we could put a casino. Here's where we could put a beach club. Here's where we could put an amusement park. This is all North Korea. You guys can be in the League of Nations. You could be part of the world once again. No need to be isolated. Yes, of course, they've done horrible, horrible things. One of the things about President Trump is he likes to look forward, all right? Doesn't want to, like most of us, old wounds and keep picking the scab and, oh, my gosh, I can't believe somebody said this to me and they did that. He's always been and always is about the future. if you want to talk about old times with President Trump, it's not really something that interests him. Where are you now? Who wants what? How do we get there? What's going to happen? What's next? What's next? What's next? That's kind of what drives him. And I have seen him talk openly, and so have you. You may forget, but it's during the first term, about all of these beautiful sketches and things that he had in mind for the North Koreans. If we can get this nuclear thing straightened out. And some of that stuff may come to pass. When the hell's the last time you heard about North Korea in the news? Right? They used to just, every other day. President Obama said to President Trump, I think this is the one thing we might be able to trust Obama on, is that North Korea is a very, very dangerous place right now. And, we could be at war with them. That didn't happen. Everybody said, well, you can't just go over and talk to Kim Jong-un yourself. Why not? I'm going to talk to that guy. You got to get in the room, and you can't just let, PowerPoint and email and, signal exchange and phone. You got to get in the room and size people up, and he sized them up, and we're in a much better place now with North Korea. Who else has he done this with? Where he talks about, hey, if you make peace, if you stop, all this war stuff all the time, things are going to be great. He did it with Gaza. He did it with the people in Gaza. Do you remember? In the heart of that war, as soon as President Trump came in and started to get the hostages out and talk about a post-war, a post-Israel-Hamas war, this is what it could look like for you. Now, I know that angers people. They're like, how could you say anything about these terrorists? And how can you... well, look, this is the real world. And, we may want to eradicate terror. Yeah, we do. We do. Absolutely. We want to eradicate. But we also have to say, hey, there's going to be a future here. And there are going to be people here. And what can we incentivize them with to maybe stop wallowing in their hatred all the time and start thinking about, hey, there's other stuff to do. You mean, how about not blowing up a bridge? How about taking a nice walk across the bridge to a brand new hotel on the other side? Things like that. And he has done this consistently. And when the Iranians stop their nuclear, and we have destroyed their nuclear, I actually ran into a very high level, one of the highest level people you could run into. I was very surprised to see him. And he didn't give me permission to quote him. I didn't ask for permission, so I'm not going to say who it was. But it was one of the highest people in American diplomacy and American public life. We're talking State Department, CIA. We're talking kind of the swamp. He's of the swamp, but he's not kind of infected by them. And he asked me, what do you think? And, I'm like, oh, man, this guy's so smart. He is so smart. PhDs, this, that, and the other thing. And he knows everybody. And he said, what do you think? I said, well, look, if the nuclear thing has really been solved, and I have no reason to think it hasn't been solved, in terms of if their nuclear capacity has been destroyed, then all this other stuff is just like detail. It's just little stuff. We're going to figure it out. The strategic, the difference between strategic and tactical. Strategic is, I don't know, what is strategic? Strategic is, let's say I'm Bruce Blakeman in Nassau County, and I want to make sure that Nassau County is the richest county in the world. And how do I want to do that? I want to totally mess things up for Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens. How do I do that? I don't know. Maybe a lot of different things you could do. You could, not that he ever would do this. He'd send in the Nassau County cops to mess with their tunnels and their bridges, although that could possibly hurt us. But the tactical would be messing with the bridges. The strategic is the goal of enhancing Nassau County's finances. Probably have the opposite effect in that half-baked scenario. The strategic effort here is no nuclear for Iran. And then the rest are just, it's tactics, it's little things, or the bigger things will help us ensure the big thing, which is the strategy, the strategic. Strategic is, hey, we want a non-communist South Korea forever. Tactical is we're going to put a bunch of weapons right on the border so that North Korea never thinks about invading Seoul. Tactics versus strategy. Let's see what else. Here's J.D. Vance. This is J.D. Vance talking the whole thing through. We're making, we're going to have some good days. We're going to have some bad days. We're going to have all kinds of, it's going to be up and down. But here he is, cut 14, if you don't mind. Cut 14.
And tell us what happened.
No, they didn't throw a wrench in the system. The thing with the Iranians, yes, they did threaten to walk out, or at least there were social media threats that they would walk out. But we were negotiating well past 1 a.m. yesterday, so they didn't walk out. And their technical team is still here in Bergenstock working with our technical team actually as we speak, though I imagine maybe some of them are taking a break to watch this news conference. But look, what we told the Iranians yesterday is when you guys engage in what us millennials might call trash talk, you can't expect the President of the United States not to respond and not to correct the record. So when they say things that aren't true, the President is going to respond to it. I'm going to respond to it. Americans are going to respond to it. When they make threats that aren't rooted in reality, they have to accept that the President of the United States is actually going to set the record straight. That's all that happened. So yes, there was a little bit of threatening, there was a little bit of whining, but at the end of the day, the talks continued and we made great progress.
You see, there's going to be trash talk, and we're going to respond to the trash talk, and we'll figure this whole thing out. Been here a million times before. We're going to be here again, and it's 60 days or 57 days. It's when the hell is that? When is that? Next year? 60 days? No, I know. It's August, right? It's August. I think it's August. Yeah, summer's going to fly by. All this stuff will be worked out, and I just don't think there's anything to be worried about. Meanwhile, back here at home in New York, did you see that poor guy who went to the Goose concert? What the hell is Goose? He went to the Goose concert and he fell down off the upper level at Madison Square Garden. It's another reason to just kind of stay home. I haven't been to a live concert since I saw Billy Joel at Nassau Coliseum, the new one, when it opened. When the hell was that? 10 plus years ago, if that. And it was great. It was a nice concert. Concerts don't kind of do what they used to do. You go to a concert, it's like, oh my gosh, wow, the lights, the this, the that. It just doesn't impress the way it used to. I don't see the need to go to too many live events. If you're into that, if you're into live music, the worst live music, quite frankly, is in a bar. A bar, a restaurant. It's never as good as the original music. Some band's version of it, and that's what you basically get, and you got to listen to them, and it's hard to have a conversation. The one thing that we have access to more than at any point in our history is music. Any song you can think of, you can retrieve on your phone, basically seconds, and you can listen to the whole thing. When people have parties, they almost insist on having this, all this sound all over the place. I personally I don't care for it. I don't like it. It's unnecessary, and we don't have what we don't have that we used to have is access to each other. We don't have access to people like we used to. People don't socialize. People don't go out. We have a million channels at home. We got our phones. Hey, Father's Day was yesterday. I did very well. I did very, very well. New sunglasses, a new wallet. I don't know how my 4-year-old and 6-year-old, how they got to the store and got all this stuff, but they sure did. And I was very, very happy, and so were they, and splashed around in a pool. It was wonderful. And, on this Father's Day, did you see all the violence that happened across the country? A lot of violence. A lot of horrible violence all over the place, especially with Juneteenth, 3-day weekend that nobody quite understands. If only Father's Day, if only we had more fathers to honor on Father's Day. Too many fathers are MIA. Isn't that right, Barack Obama? This is still it was a great moment, except it was just a moment. When Barack Obama, being that he was black and being that he was running for president and being that he was popular, that he could say what they used to call the quiet part out loud. Anyone remember this? Barack Obama, Father's Day, 2008. He's not yet president, but he's on his way. Cut 12.
Too many fathers are also missing. Too many fathers are MIA. Too many fathers are AWOL, missing from too many lives and too many homes. They've abandoned their responsibilities. They're acting like boys instead of men. And the foundations of our family have suffered because of it. You and I know this is true everywhere, but nowhere is it more true than in the African American community. We know that more than half of all black children live in single-parent households.
Why?
Half. A number that's doubled since we were children. We know the statistics that children who grow up without a father are 5 times more likely to live in poverty.
Oh, my God.
And commit crime.
This is the kind of thing you would do anything to fix, especially if you had the prestige and power and influence that a guy like Barack Obama had. But he was too conflicted about his own race. Black people thought he was too white, so he kept his mouth shut. So it falls to loudmouths like you and me to fix it. Be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
By the time I hit my 50s, I'd learned a few things, like how family is precious. Work can always wait. And 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles. Not everyone at risk will develop it, but I did. The painful, blistering rash disrupted my life for weeks. Don't learn about your shingles risk the hard way. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
I wrote a little song to remind you, Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Bring a date, your squad, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This is some great big Muslim parade party in Park Avenue on Sunday. They shut down all the streets. The indication is they had a permit. You know, if we're going to give these guys a permit, I think they got to put on a show or something. It's a little bit vague what they're doing. A bunch of people are just hanging around, beating their chests right there on Park Avenue. Now, what the hell is this thing all about? Shia Muslims held their annual Ashura Julus procession. Park Avenue and 50th Street to Madison Avenue and 65th Street near the Pakistani consulate. All right, look, you know, there's a lot of reasons to be concerned about this moment in America and the globe. If they've been doing this for 25 years, okay. But, you know, let's not pretend that Islamophobia has been a thing, all right? Because it's not a thing. It's not a thing. But then again, you know, this influx and this refusal to adhere or adopt or even pay respect to, I don't know, Western custom, because everything Western is somehow, you know, not cool. Not with it, not hip. It's very hip to be, I guess, anti-gay, I guess, anti-woman, because that's very much in keeping with Shia. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And this may be news for a lot of people. They don't like to hear about that. They don't like to. I feel like it's the fine print in a credit card that you're about to buy and get a lot of debt. You know who Ro Khanna is? I can't stand this guy. He's a congressman who is from, Silicon Valley, happens to be of Indian descent. He's this guy who, you know, occasionally says something rational and gets a hell of a lot of credit for it, too much credit. I heard once that the Democrats who get elected president are the ones who talk like Republicans. Now, that's not true anymore, but this guy is kind of trying that old playbook. But he's kind of figuring out in real time that is not going to work, and it doesn't work. So he's going harder and harder left, and it's fun to see him go up against who is this guy? Bill Maher. Bill Maher, who's one of our people. He's one of us. He had dinner in the White House with President Trump. I guess it happens. It happens when you're young and stupid, and you don't own anything, and you have nothing invested. burn it all down and give me free stuff. But as you acquire age, property, responsibility, and maybe who knows, a sense of duty, maybe not being selfish all the time, maybe worrying about children, I think it changes a person, right? It changes a person a little bit. And Ro Khanna, who is totally okay with this Nazi, and I do think it's okay to say a guy is a Nazi who has a Nazi tattoo. I love Tucker Carlson, actually, many, many ways. I know he disappoints, and sometimes he says stuff. I have not heard all the podcasts. He kind of bothered me with this thing. Oh, I don't know if he's a Nazi. Maybe that tattoo meant something else. Well, it's kind of a deal breaker, period. It's a deal breaker. Anyway, here's Ro Khanna with our friend Bill Maher. Cut 5, if you don't mind. Cut 5.
You also are not afraid to back Graham Plattner. You've been one of the most steady voices for him within the Democrat Party. When other folks within your party have said he's crossed some lines for them, we're going to put up and scroll here for folks at home to see some of the controversies he's been accused of, some of this stuff he's admitted to, some of it he's denied. But we're talking about things like the Nazi tattoo, which he said he didn't understand and later covered up. But, slurs against specific communities, mocking, a U.S. soldier who was shot by the Taliban, shaming rape victims and others. Do you worry about that? What is the line for you? Because there have been allegations by former female partners of his who've alleged abuse and mistreatment, those kinds of things. I mean, what happened to believe women?
Well, I do believe those women, and I have said that his past conduct was shameful, and I totally condemned it. He did 2-3 tours of duty in Iraq. He came back with a PTSD. That's not an excuse, but he said that he had a problem with alcohol. He had an ugly period in his life, and he believes that he is transformed and he's had redemption. And the voters of Maine had a choice, and they voted for him by 72%. At this point, almost the entire Democratic Party is supporting him, and it's for the voters to decide whether they believe his transformation is sincere. I believe that they will make that determination, but I do believe that people have to extend grace to folks who own up to past mistakes and say that they've transformed and that they're better.
Well, that's wonderful. And then knock yourself out and being an oysterman in Maine or running that hotel that your parents gave you. But you can't go to the United States Senate with a Nazi tattoo on, for crying out loud. The standards that they apply to Republicans and what they're willing to condone, look the other way on, or make excuses for. It's really something, that party. And I want to go a little bit deeper with Ro Khanna. Now, there's that. But this is okay, here we go with Billy. Hey, why does Bill Maher smoke weed? I'm surprised he does it. A week ago last night, I was at the mixed martial arts in Washington, D.C., and, I'm watching Joe Rogan do his thing. Joe Rogan gets high in the morning, high at lunch, high in the afternoon, high at dinner, and high before he goes to bed. He's high all the time. And maybe that was some of the tension I saw, because I noticed there might have been a little bit of tension between him and President Trump. Just a little bit. There was some kind of tense body language there. And, he's always worried about what his bros in podcast world, and he's got a lot of woke right people. What the hell are we doing with Iran? What are we doing with Israel? How dare he do this? The woke right. I don't like the woke right. And he's really in with the woke right, Joe Rogan. He's smoking weed all the time. Now, where did he get his fix? If he needs his weed to function, how did he do that at the White House? He probably popped an edible. That's the thing. A lot of people are doing edibles. Not in New York, though. Everywhere you go, they're just smoking it in the open. And, oh, by the way, just so you know, people, that's still illegal. That is still technically against the law. We have Bill Bratton and Bill de Blasio to thank for that. Remember those goofballs? They held up a bread bag full of weed, and they said, this is how much you're allowed to carry around New York. And it was like, the kind of thing of more weed, it's like enough for a whole landscaping crew. It was a lot of weed. And it was not for personal use. It was what a drug dealer. Wait, I'm sorry about the landscapers. That wasn't nice. Hey, do me a favor. Cut 13, if you don't mind. Cut 13.
People want to hear from Andy Beshear, from Mamdani, from Pete Buttigieg. There are a lot of great people in the next generation. Thank you for your service. You've had your time. Let a new generation.
So you think Mamdani's a great one, huh?
I do. Did you see his Knicks speech? I mean, anyone
not the
who's
issue that most concerned me. I don't
it's
need...
worth a watch because the speech was not just about the Knicks. First of all, he recites every Knicks player. I mean, I couldn't do that about the.
Who gives a shit about the Knicks? He's the mayor of New York.
Well, yeah, but he talks about how it's actually bringing people together. Trump voters, Mamdani voters, how it's overcoming the odds. And he took a speech that was just about celebrating a championship, and he made something bigger about it. He's a talented.
Okay. Well, it doesn't make me forget that his wife loved October 7th attack on Israel, and that he pals around with terrorists.
No, come on. Have you had him on the show?
We ask people like that, Ro. They never come.
I'll talk to him. I think
I would love
come.
that. I think he should too.
I think if you come, you have a
I do too.
conversation.
I would love to talk to him.
He's a smart guy, and I think you would find.
I'm not saying he's not a smart guy. He went to the White House.
Yeah,
I mean,
he took.
He went there, but he can't come here.
Yeah. He should come here.
He should come here. Oh, so should AOC? So should all of the Democrats.
No, they should come. You don't bite. You're fine.
I voted for them, not him. But I mean,
he needs Trump's money though, and he doesn't need your money here, unfortunately. But the reason he was there, stroking Trump, was because he needs federal help for New York, and so he understood he had to be there, playing to Trump's ego and vanity, because he can't have the feds being hostile to New York City. He needs federal help. Look, I think.
But I think it's bigger than that, Jonathan. I agree with the strategic, but I think he has a view that you talk to everyone. Sure. You engage everyone. You engage Trump. Okay, that's why you should
not real time, apparently. Unfortunately,
well, I mean, there's.
So, thank goodness for Bill Barr. You know, who cares? The Knicks. It was kind of a minor scandal that he even spoke. He spoke for 10, 11 minutes about the Knicks. The guy has, talk about stolen valor. You know, basking in someone else's glory. How does he get credit for that when school buses? I've never seen a school bus on fire in New York City. I'm thinking maybe I saw one in Ukraine, maybe I saw one in Iraq, Afghanistan, right? All that stuff. I've never seen cop cars surrendered. The only time I ever saw a cop car surrendered was in, I guess, Minneapolis after George Floyd, when they torched that precinct. Remember? The mostly peaceful protest. And Mamdani, no matter what happens, it doesn't matter. He's got a good smile, and the young, stupid idiots love him. The people who don't know anything, people who don't own anything, who have nothing at stake in America, they're the ones who love this stuff. And again, about that dopey police commissioner, I'm telling you, man, the New York Times may find it stylish. Ooh, it's a woman. Ooh, who the hell cares? Penis, no penis. This is a person who has no clue about law enforcement. None. And from what I hear, the way she manages the department, well, let's say she's got she does a lot of time managing her personal life, right? She's got a lot of things going on in the personnel realm. Personnel and personal, right? Personal with personnel. The police commissioner. You have a duty like that, and you're doing other things, and you're berating top staff in front of other people. I hear that too. Certain things. He doesn't know how to manage police department. Doesn't know how to manage people, right? And we all saw that. Cop cars, people all over lampposts, vast portions of the city just giving up to the mob. Hey, what? Why not? It's the Knicks. Who the hell cares at this point? If I see another Knicks shirt, I'm sorry. I know. People love it. I could care less. I care about safety. I care about property. I care about people getting to live lives. Hey, I care about people. If you want to attend that damn thing, you should be able to attend it, not have to get there at 7 a.m. and go into a pen. I think that might even be against the law. Jessica Tisch, anything for power, anything for prestige. Ooh, look at me. You don't deserve that job. What a joke. And the whole premise was you were going to stand up to Mamdani, and you can't do that because you don't have the guts, and you have no credibility as well. It should never. Anyway, obviously I have a lot at stake. I feel like I have a lot at stake. I have a lot invested. I first walked into that police headquarters when I was in first grade, long time ago, and it was possibly one of my favorite spots on earth in that department. I was never a police officer. I went into the Marines instead. but I have a tremendous understanding and appreciation for what that place is and what it was and what it can become. And I see it now, and it's heartbreaking. It really is. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. I will not let it ruin, however, this glorious day. Be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
What point did you want to make besides that? I love that line. I don't know why it's so funny, but it's great. It's great. Hey, is Sid in Israel yet? Where is he? Did he come back? All right. Want him to be careful over there.
He's still over there, Greg. He's out there.
Still over there?
Yeah,
wow.
For the rest of the week.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, it's risky. It's risky. But great big champ of Israel, and I think Sid has a connection that I don't have. But actually, interestingly, many Christians, especially evangelical Christians, feel a huge connection to Israel, and I want Israel to be safe, and I want it to be around forever, and I am confident it will be. It does kind of break my heart a little bit that. People are trying to say that President Trump threw Israel under the bus. That's crazy talk. That is so not true. What did certain people have in mind? How is this going to go? Like, how much bombing do we do of Iran? Now, I know the Hezbollah thing is a thorny issue. It's something I would probably bring up in negotiations. Hey, Iran, I thought you guys always denied your connection to Hezbollah and funding terror, right? So what do you care about Hezbollah? Well, what is it? What is it that you got so invested in Hezbollah, right? Because they always deny that they support terror. They always deny these things and deny the nuclears. I wonder, could you say something along those lines? Would that work? I don't know. Look, everybody shoots their mouth off in these things, and they want to be heard, and they also want it reported what it is they're saying, right? That's an important component to all of this as well. The home audience, right? There's a lot of stuff. I've never been involved in anything like that. And the people over there have been, Jared Kushner, people, you get a lot of experience when you're buying $1 billion building when you're 26 years old, like he did. 10 years before he even met Donald Trump. That's what he was doing. That was his life. Let's see here. Also, Steve Witkoff, he's involved very, very much. And J.D. Vance. I feel totally confident in these guys. Totally. And I am not perturbed or anything in any way about the stuff that I hear breathlessly reported. Now, President Trump, as you know, does sometimes call reporters where he wants it. He wants them to talk about it on TV. He wants them to come on the TV and start talking. And he does that. And, sometimes I'm like, I don't know if this is necessary. Here's Trey Yingst, right? The Fox guy, tight black shirt. No matter what he's reporting, and this is important stuff, but he just always seems to be on the edge of wetting his pants, right? I don't know how much combat he's seen or what, but I think we got to toughen this guy up a little bit. I don't know. Cut one, if you don't mind. He's in, where is he? Tel Aviv when he says this, and he did get a call from the POTUS. Cut one.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. I just spoke with President Trump for more than 20 minutes, and he gave some new insight and reaction about the ongoing talks that are taking place in Switzerland and the threats coming from the Iranian regime. President Trump telling Fox News that the U.S. may take over the strait in the future if they have to, and collect tolls. The president described this as the United States being the guardian angel of the Strait of Hormuz and the Middle East. And the president said ultimately that would involve the U.S. taking 20% of the oil that passes through the strait. Remember, this comes in reaction to the Iranians saying they will close the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli strikes against Hezbollah in Lebanon. President Trump tells Fox News he spoke with Iranian officials overnight and said, you close it, you won't have a country. He went on to tell these officials, you won't even make it back to your effing country. Now, earlier today, Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian said this about Iranian enrichment of uranium. The president also reacting to that. Take a listen.
We will not give up our right to enrichment, and they, too, will be forced to accept it. You all know what the so-called President of the United States was saying. He had made a complete 100-degree turn. He was saying that Iran must surrender unconditionally. Iran has no right to do this, it has no right to do that.
President Trump, during our call, responded directly to those comments by Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian. President Trump told Fox News he better watch his mouth, he better shape up, or we'll take over the rest of the country.
Watch his mouth. These are it's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Hey, another thing here. Unconditional surrender. I heard that a lot over the weekend. I heard that a lot. You know, that big sloppy jerk, Chris Christie, the most jealous man in the world. The most jealous man. You know, President Trump, he was going to, that was his thing, right? Chris Christie was a pretty normal guy. And then he becomes governor. And then he basically becomes drunk with power, right? You're the governor. Remember? Hey, I'm the governor, stupid. You know, get out of my way. It was such a put on. But he liked it. He liked it. Like, hey, wow, I'm 60 years old. I just invented a new personality, and it's working for me. So, but he's no Trump. And he still resents it. Remember, he ran against Trump. So he's an expert on all things, including this. I saw him yesterday. No, you don't know what the hell's going on. These are the things that you say. You say wild things in negotiations, especially if you're negotiating with Trump. Both sides do it. This is early. This is posturing. All right? A little bit of trash talk, and that's what happens. It's okay. It's okay. Trey Yingst. Is that sometimes these things sound not as intense on the phone, but no matter what that guy says, he sounds intense. That reporter there, if he's ordering breakfast, I'll have 2 eggs and cheese, and I'll have just whoa, chill. That guy can't chillax, can't. What else do we want to do? All right, I'm going to get into the Obamas. There's a little bit more there. Also, the governor of Virginia, Abigail Spanberger. Her ludicrous behavior as she panders to black people on Juneteenth. A lot of pandering on Juneteenth. Unfortunately, sadly, again, a lot of violence. A lot of violence. All hat, no cattle. Are you familiar with that slogan? It applies to Fauci and also the late, great Alan Greenspan. Not so great. We'll be right back. 800-848-9222.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?